The origin of the environmentalism movement can be traced back to early colonialist times, where new cultivation of foreign land warranted policy regulation. A specific example I will focus on is Pierre Poivre, an 18th century horticulturalist based primarily in Mauritius. He was responsible for bringing about change in environmentalist thought, most notably spearheading the physiocratic movement in colonial lands. I will analyze Poivre's struggle for environmental sustainability and compare it to today's greenwashing through LEED certification. I hope to prove that we have overcome the same type of obstacles faced in Mauritius in our current situation, but on a much larger scale. The colonialist movement across Europe during the 18th century caused an immediate urgency to understand foreign and unfamiliar floras, faunas, and geologies for commercial use. A surge of information from the newly colonized lands followed. The first of these developments occurred in Mauritius, which was declared as a scientific odyssey that brought to life a social and physical utopia beloved of the early Romantic era. Mauritius had a lot to offer the French, who were in constant competition with the British to colonize land. More specifically, the potential of Mauritius to serve as a site for spice plantations encouraged French colonization of the land. Enter Pierre Poivre. His principal concern was securing a successful system of plant transfers from the East Indies and to establish Mauritius as a center of spice cultivation. He brought with him the philosophy of physiocracy, which emphasized the virtues of agriculture by acknowledging and advocating for the rural workers. Physiocracy stressed that agriculture should be improved and transformed upon by human progress. Furthermore, physiocrats were infamous for anthropomorphizing the fragile state of nature and essentially transferring fears about human vulnerability to nature. In the attempt to transplant new species to France, Poivre acquired an understanding of the relationship between vegetation and soil type, which prompted him to introduce many policy changes to protect preserved areas. The sheer speed of the ecological change induced by this capital-intensive agricultural fast grab in Mauritius increased the severity of the environmental crisis. The same imminent threat of shortage and destruction of resources that the 18th century colonies faced is occurring in today's environmental crisis. Some experts say that we have reached peak oil, while others cite that we will hit it during 2050. Either way, the non-renewable resource has similarities to the spice species of Mauritius in the 1800s. How has modern architecture responded? A new nationally accepted benchmark for high-performance green buildings has been established and named Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, or LEED. The focus of LEED is on improving indoor environmental quality, reducing carbon dioxide emissions, saving energy, and using water efficiently. Though there are advantages to promoting green design, there are disadvantages such as the high cost of construction and the privatization by developers who use LEED as a marketing tool. By requiring innovation in public agencies, governments are effectively promoting the acceptance of environmentally friendly designs and ultimately embracing a marketing technique. Taken to the extreme, this has led to LEED washing, where many go after the idea of energy efficiency but not its actuality. Mainstream greening has contributed to the deceptive image of environmentally friendly products. So what are the similarities and differences from the spice routes in 18th century Mauritius and the 21st century LEED washing? Well, the same appeal to human emotions are used, where early writings of physiocrats like Poivre described nature in romantic terms that used imagery to carry a metaphorical and philosophical meaning. Poivre was different from other physiocrats in that he promoted the arts and natural history. There has been an increasing appeal to emotion in today's economy, where manufacturing techniques target human sympathy and even promote the exclusivity of green products. Furthermore, physiocrats of the 18th century did not have the highest scientific rigor in their policies as we do now. Perhaps evaluating the efficiency of LEED is subject to the inherent benefit of 21st century technology. Because of the increasing influence of the environment on policy, these ideas are coming from a more metropolitan setting, whereas in the 18th century, the physiocratic movement began from an urban setting. This reversal shows that we have had a linear progress from two different eras of environmentalism. From these developments, it can be said that the resurgence of environmentalism experienced from the late 20th to early 21st century has many parallels to the 18th century capital-hungry colonial trade. Mauritius provided an excellent case study for colonial scientists to analyze and attempt to control the environmental consequences of a capital-intensive, slave-utilizing plantation economy. Similarly, engineers and architects are using the opportunity of the energy crisis to produce more innovative designs. Therefore, though the two eras that saw an increase in environmentalist thought were 2 centuries apart, the same obstacles were faced, such as realization of imminent shortage, sustainable cultivation, and unknown unknowns.